We'll be introducing Blender this week, rendering our house models in this 3D rendering program. We're using version 3.51 here at school, so I've provided a way for you to download it. There is always a newer version that's out there, but here at school we use the Software Center, which you can find here, or type SOFT. And you can see here under installation status, I already have Blender 3.51. Otherwise, you would find it under applications. I will often just sort alphabetically and then look in the B's to see if that Blender icon is there. You can install that on your computer. I'm going to go ahead and close the Software Center, and I'm not going to go into the details of Blender. There's lots of ways of looking at that yourself, but to start off here, we're going to want to have two new folders inside our 3D modeling project folder. The DAE files, which are what we export from SketchUp, and then the Blender files in order to keep those separate from all the rest of our stuff. So remember to use File Explorer. You can copy that text or just type it. Go to your 3D modeling project folder, and you can use this new folder icon. I will type DAE. And then we also need a Blender folder. So I'm going to right click this time and choose New Folder, both ways of making new folders. So now I've got where those files are going to go. Going to my SketchUp next, I'm going to take a look at this house, and I'm going to, before I do anything else, you've got your house, it's all painted, you think you've got what you need. I'm going to do a Save As, and just save it into my project folder with today's date. That way I can always go back to my previous house if I run into problems. I do have quite a few here, but just put today's date, 24/02/05, painted house for Blender, and put your name. Just so that we've got a separate file that we're making these alterations to. So in order to export this house, you need to check it over very carefully with Entity Info. I've got a separate video for that, but let me go through the exporting process. So clicking on our three lines right here, we are going to export. And we want the colada format. Think Pina Colada if you're trying to remember. This is the DAE format. So when I click on it, it's got these default settings. Just go ahead and leave those there and export. If it runs into a problem, we may need to refresh this page and reconfirm before we can actually do the export. This is one of the reasons why you don't want to have to do this too many times. So checking it over very carefully ahead of time before you run into too many problems. Now we got to open that up again. So going to Google Drive and finding the one with today's date. Here we go, 2/05. Open it up. And we'll try this again. So going to the three little lines, export, colada, and export. Now this sends it to an online processing center in the cloud, so it's not ready yet. It has not been downloaded. And we can actually go to this dashboard, or when it's done, a green box will appear up here saying that it's ready to download. I'm just going to go straight to the dashboard so you can see it really varies how long it's going to take for it to go ahead and convert that over to the new format, the DAE. When this comes out, because I have textures, it's actually going to be a zip file. So I can click right here or here in order to download that file. If you only have colors, then you may just have the DAE file, but I'm going to go ahead and just click on it. So this is actually the file in downloads, and this is what I need out of that zip file. So I'm going to right click on those and copy them and find my DAE folder inside 3D modeling project folder. Now you'll notice that these have a rather strange name, which can make it a little confusing, but don't rename these because it's pretty easy for it to lose the textures. If you'll notice here, this folder is just the images that were used to make those textures. I can tell that's a SketchUp one, very low resolution, these three, and these are three that I found in the warehouse. So again, it's just an image that gets applied to your surfaces. So in order to go to the next step, we are then going to import this DAE file into Blender.